Hello, gorgeous people, and welcome to another TV Central 101 podcast. I'm Aaron Ryan. This is episode 46, 2023. 100 everyday Australians stay on a remote island vying for a chance to win $1 million. But braving the harsh conditions with limited means isn't the only challenge on an island full of mystery, surprise, hardships, and rewards. This is $1 Million Island. Your host is Middleton. His time in the military saw him deployed to various conflict zones, including Northern Ireland, Macedonia, and Afghanistan. He earned a reputation for his leadership skills, endurance, and determination. Following his military career, Middleton transitioned into the world of television. He gained widespread recognition as the chief instructor on the reality TV show SAS Who Dares Wins in the UK and here with SAS Australia. Middleton is also an accomplished author. He has written several books, including First Man In, Leading from the Front, which details his military experiences and leadership philosophy. He continues to inspire others with his messages of resilience, determination, and leadership. Now, the front man of $1 Million Island, Ant Middleton, joins me now at TV Central. And thank you for joining me.
Wow, Aaron, that was quite some intro. Thank you very much. You're way too kind. Normally,
you're a busy man, though.
No, listen, yeah, I am a busy man. It's been an extremely busy year, to be fair. Channel 7 have kept me extremely busy with SAS Australia and why we're here, $1 Million Island. So busy, can't complain.
If you hang around long enough at Channel 7, you'll end up on Dancing with the Stars. So that's probably next for you.
Well, listen, I don't think I'll go down that route, but listen, we never know. Never say never, right?
That's right. Now, you are used to the hard line in SAS, but I did see a smile in $1 Million Island as you welcomed the contestants and heaps of positive encouragement. Was it a refreshing change to be in a primetime show with a different kind of role?
Yes, it was. And the $1 Million Island is more me. You know, that's who I am. I am a family man. I love helping people. I like seeing people develop. I like seeing people succeed. SAS, when I'm the chief instructor, that's a small substrata of who I am. You know, the disciplinarian. And it's such a unique show, SAS, that, you know, the screaming and shouting is because I have to instill this discipline, this military discipline in such a short amount of time that it can, it does come across as very brutal. But honest, where with $1 Million Island, I was there. I was their biggest cheerleaders, ultimately, biggest cheerleader. I was there to encourage them. I was there to help them through because they had to survive for one whole month on this island in Malaysia. And on top of that, they had to battle it out every single day with challenges, which, you know, you combine those two, you're in for a brutal and rude awakening experience. Because like I said, just to survive for 1 month on an island with minimal rations and supplies is hardcore enough. And when you chuck the mix of $1 million in there and also challenges, whether they're physical, psychological or emotional challenges, you know, you're going to be in for a rough ride.
Yeah, for sure. So let's set the scene. I mean, you have just about there for $1 Million Island. We know that each contestant has a wristband worth $10,000. With 100 players, that's obviously $1 million. What happens from there?
So the $1 million must stay on the island. So if you get eliminated, which the contestants challenge each other on a almost daily basis. And if they win the challenge, then they win the bracelets, whoever was part of the challenge. And if they lose, then they risk being eliminated. So once you get eliminated, that's you off the island. You can also choose to leave at any given time. So they're all volunteers, so they can leave whenever they want. But however, their bracelet or bracelets, if they've won some, must stay on the island, and they've got the opportunity to gift them to whoever they want. And there's a phrase on $1 Million Island. It says, "Friendship brings fortunes." So if you create a bond with someone and they leave and they give you their bracelets, you know, we see people go from $10,000 to like $40,000-$50,000. You know, sort of overnight. So it's a fascinating concept, and towards the end, you see the the worst of humanity, I would say. You see people get really carried away with the $1,000,000 that's up for grabs. So at first it's quite nicey, and then all of a sudden you see a real competitive side come out. So it was a fascinating experience.
I felt like after watching the first episode, there was definitely a number of people that underestimated the competition. It seemed like they were in their own mind, had their own strategy. Some were fit and some very determined. But there is so much more to this game: friendships, connections, teamwork, participation. Did you think some people underestimated the game?
Yeah, I think they thought that they're going to just do a few challenges and then they're done, and then they get a good night's sleep. Where it was what you saw. It was survival at its most extreme, more or less, and then combat. Physical, psychological challenges on top of that. So when you're drained, you're tired, you're hungry, and you're sleep deprived, and people are annoying you. Their little habits are annoying you as time goes by. Then all of a sudden, you've got to battle it out against these people. It was a hardcore process, and you sort of saw people crumble, break and crumble. But you also saw people sort of embrace the experience and just become, better, stronger.
Yeah.
You see them really, really come into their own and fight through. But yeah, it was a great show to host. It was a great show to sort of sit back and watch them go through this experience and help them out where I could.
Yeah. In episode 1, this podcast will be up just after the episode, so I can mention this. The first challenge was won by Brett. He actually missed the jump twice at the start of the challenge and was in for a near impossible uphill battle. He definitely wasn't the fittest. In fact, some of his competition had all the abs and muscles. Brett ended up winning. Would it fair to say that abs alone won't win you $1 million?
Listen, nothing is impossible on $1 Million Island, Aaron. So the challenges were designed, to be a mixture of physical, psychological, and emotional. They do get emotional when they get frustrated and when they lose focus and get distracted. So it's not always what they seem. And as the challenges went on, people were being, their game plans were really kicking in. They were like, who do I nominate? Do I nominate myself? Who do I put up for these challenges? We don't know what the challenges are. You can put all the physical guys up, but there might not be a physical challenge. So, they really had to think after they saw Brett, who came from far behind to go on and win the challenge. That's when they knew that anything was possible, and to not underestimate anybody on the island.
Yeah. So tell me about the island where the show is filmed. It looks absolutely beautiful. I believe it's off at Langkawi somewhere.
Yeah, it's an island off Langkawi. Yeah, beautiful. Humidity was high, so it made it even worse. There was a lot of wildlife, whether it was snakes, spiders, boar. There was everything on the island, really. Scorpions, you name it. So the contestants had to be switched on and very aware of where they were going, what they were getting involved with, what they were eating. So again, it's just survival at its rawest. You take everything away and you have to survive. It's in us anyway, but because life's so comfortable and society's so comfortable, you almost forget how to survive. But this was really good to see that it's still in us. The DNA is still there. Ultimately, life is one big survival, right? So when you take away all the materialistical stuff, then you have to survive. People adapt very quickly. So it's good to see that side also.
Well, let's talk about that component of the show, the survival part. They do have some supplies at the start of the journey, but it'll be about living off nature for a major part of the show. What kind of food does the natural island provide for the contestants? Because I'm sure they're not going to be eating scorpions.
All sorts. They were by the sea, so first of all, seafood. The ocean supplies. I don't need to tell anyone, to suck eggs, and I don't mean to tell them to suck eggs, but the sea supplies everything, from crabs to fish to sea cucumbers to sea shell food, everything. And then you've got the island again. There's enough on the island to survive. So there was ample amount of food, believe it or not, to forage and to hunt for. And also they were given a supply at the very beginning on day one, which they all sort of tore through and destroyed and hid and argued over and fought over. But ultimately, if they knew what they were doing, there was plenty of food in and around the island.
Well, the temperatures are pretty tropical there. I think up to 38 degrees. We did see one medical retiree in the first episode. Are we likely to see more across the season?
Yeah, you do see quite a few people drop. And there's all sorts that kick in, all sorts of wildness and all sorts of chaoticness and manicness that goes on with individuals. Now, whether that's through exhaustion from the challenges, whether that's through malnutrition, whether that's through not eating enough or whatever it may be, we do see a bit of that, and that's all part of survival. How much are you willing to put in? How much are you willing to go out and forage? How much are you willing to stay alive ultimately, whilst in those extreme conditions? There's it is brutal on the body, it's brutal on the mind, and ultimately, looking back on it, it was an extremely brutal experience for them. So, kudos to all the contestants.
I know it's a little bit in retrospect, but what advice would you give to the contestants that are facing like self-doubt, frustration, and are on the verge of quitting?
You've just got to surrender yourself to the environment, surrender yourself to the game. A lot of people overthink, and that's their worst downfall. That's their biggest downfall, is when people overthink. They think that they know what's going to happen. They think they've got a game plan. They think they've got it all sussed out. Well, ultimately, you'll never win against Mother Nature. You've got to completely surrender yourself. You've got to take each hour as it comes. And ultimately, you've got to flip that mindset from a negative one, be thinking that you're in a negative situation, to a positive one, knowing that you've got everything that you need to survive. You just need to get out there and work hard and really be in it to win it ultimately. Because the moment you become a bystander on anything like that, and you're waiting for people to help you out and to really pull you through, then you're not going to make it.
All right, on to something else. You're also the host of SAS Australia, with the show returning later this year. Now, we won't focus on that too much, but this year we have Anthony Mundine, Cassie Sainsbury, known as Cocaine Cassie, Craig McLaughlin, and Jason Ackermanis. Wow. Is it fair to say this is going to be a fiery season? That's some fiery personalities there.
Yeah, yes, it is. But you'll be surprised how quickly people humble themselves on SAS. It's such a unique show, and when I'm allowed to run it, the best way I know how, which Channel 7 do let me do, which is amazing. Then, people come on there with a sort of game plan on how they're going to act, how they're going to play it out. But again, it's one of those courses where, and I call it a course because that's what I run. Channel 7 turn it into a show. I run a military style course. The attitudes and the egos, we soon thrash it out of them. But we do come up against it. And we this season is fiery, to say the least. You're not only, you've got a couple of fiery personalities in there, and they certainly shine through.
For sure. Well, SAS is one of my favorite shows, not because of the controversy, but for people that find things from within that they never thought they had. They find resilience they thought they never had. They find emotions that they'd never explored. I have spoken to a few of the past contestants after the show, and most say it's literally changed their life. Is it rewarding to see, that life-changing experience people get from the show?
Yeah, and that's why I still do it. It's exactly that. People, once you dig into the nooks and crannies of the show, it's exactly that. We're there to develop people. We're there to make people realize what they're capable of, where their potential lie, who they are ultimately. And once they walk away from the show, they walk away with a newfound respect for themselves, self-belief, tools and capabilities to tackle life head on. And that's what the show is all about. But we do it in such a short amount of time that it has to be almost, to put them through the hardship and suffering. And once they come out the other end, you've got a huge life experience. You've got huge self-confidence and self-belief. So, it's really great. And that's why I still do it. And that's why it's so important that this show, SAS, keeps that authenticity, keeps that rawness, keeps that realness. Because the moment you lose that, then it becomes a scripted show, and you just you lose the true format that I built back in 2015.
You're also an author with 4 nonfiction books, including First Man In, The Fear Bubble, Zero Negativity, and Mental Fitness, which have all been Sunday Times bestsellers in the UK, earning you gold status at the Nielsen Awards. Your latest book, The Wall, is out now. Can you give me a bit of a rundown on what that one's about?
Yeah, The Wall is about, when we hit a wall, we ultimately all hit a wall in life. And it's just being honest with yourself and realizing that, we all do it. And it could be a small wall, it could be a physical wall, it could be an emotional wall, it could be a psychological wall. It could be a combination of 2 or 3, 2 of those. It could be a combination of all 3. And it's just about, being honest with yourself, realizing that life is tough, that we never get it right all of the time. If anything, we go through life getting most things wrong, and that's how we learn. And that's how we progress through life, through learning, through growing, through becoming a better version. And it's just about not acknowledging when you've hit a wall, when you've become stagnant, when you've lost motivation. And again, just being honest with yourself, realizing what that wall is in order to tackle it and get over it, through it, or around it. So it just breaks it down into the emotional side, the psychological and the physical side of hitting walls. And, the walls can be as small as, not being motivated for the gym, or as big as, losing a loved one and really struggling with getting through those moments. But we hit walls all the time. We don't just hit these big walls and then, once or twice in our life. We hit these walls far more than people realize. The moment we realize that we've hit a wall, then we can do something about it. But it's just about being honest with yourself and really breaking things down.
Yeah. Your new show, Fear Bubble, Your Life, Your Time, teaches attendees the importance of emotional intelligence and how to cultivate it by harnessing our fears. I believe that's touring later this year. Can you tell me more about what people can expect from the live show?
Yeah, I talk about emotional intelligence. It's not a baffling couple of words. Emotional intelligence is understanding the emotion for what it is and using it, to your advantage, or making it work for you. That's the intelligent part, right? It's just acknowledging what that emotion is. It could be fear, it could be multiple, and I talk about the fear bubble. Fear grips us and stops us from achieving almost everything, whether that's fear of phobias, whether it's fear of not being good enough, fear of the unknown, fear, there's multiple fears out there that stop us in our tracks and stop us from committing. And when we don't commit, we don't try, we don't learn, we don't grow, and we live in the void, I call it. So the tour is about, really taking charge of you as an individual, taking charge of your emotions, because your emotions are you, and making them work for you. Because the moment you work in sync and in harmony with your emotions, you will achieve amazing things. But it's our emotions that stop us 90% of the time from really reaching the levels that we're capable of reaching. So I'll be talking about SAS. I'll be talking about some military experiences that I've had, where I've really had to, use and harness my fear and make it work for me and use it to my advantage, especially in the military, where if I got it wrong, it could cost me or my comrades my life. I talk about K2. So I recently climbed K2 last year, which is the hardest mountain in the world to climb. And I used a lot of emotional intelligence to climb that mountain, because the physical side for me wasn't the hardest bit. It was the emotional side of climbing such a dangerous mountain. The why behind it, why did I do it? And also leaving my family behind. I've got 5 children and a wife, and I'm off climbing the most dangerous mountain in the world. It really, there were moments where, my emotions got the better of me, and I really had to sort of keep them into check and realize why I sacrifice what I do in order to get to where I need to be for myself and my family. So it's you're going to see some behind the scenes footage of K2, some never seen footage. You're going to hear some military stories that I haven't told, of fear when I was scared. Not about me running through the doors, and it's when I was scared and when I did feel really, really vulnerable. And hopefully, especially coming out in the last couple of years, it can really lift people, make them understand that we're human. We all have emotions. It's okay, and it's about harnessing them and making them work for you. Yeah. So a lot of behind the scenes stuff and never seen before stuff. Also, I'm going to be talking about mutiny. When I done the mutiny on the Bounty from 1789, I reenacted Captain Bligh's journey, and I'm going to be talking about that as well, because I hit a few of the Australian islands, Sunday Island. I hit, I sort of reciprocated Captain Bligh's journey. So I'm going to be talking about that and showing some footage of that as well. So it's going to be an action-packed tour, and I just can't wait to get in front of people and hopefully make them walk away feeling like they can, really take charge of themselves.
Yeah. Well, I saw a Perth date in there, so I'll head along to that one. $1 Million Island looks huge. Great to see you in a different role and a smile. Many success with the show, and we'll check back with you later in the year for all of your other endeavors. But thank you for joining me here at TV Central.
Thanks, Aaron. You're a gentleman. Thanks very much.
All right,
Cheers.
that was Ant Middleton, host of $1 Million Island across 7 and 7+. You can also catch Ant in the new season of SAS Australia this year. Plus, look out for the Fear Bubble, Your Life, Your Time tour later this year. And jump online and check out Ant's motivational books, including the latest titled The Wall. That's it for this podcast. For all the latest news, streaming options, ratings, television guides, and podcasts, head to tvcentral.com.au. Until next time, I'm Aaron Ryan. Thanks to Ant Middleton. Bye for now.